contact us on Facebook or just search the Denver channel on Twitter. Same thing. Look for the Denver channel, or you can just tag us on Instagram using the hashtag Orange and Blue Review. If you haven't joined us before, we just talk about football, talk about the Broncos for a solid hour. Because there's always things we can kind of nitpick and chew on a little bit here, right?
Yeah, and lots to nitpick yesterday. You caught yesterday's game.
Yeah.
Your sense after this game was, I think there's a lot of people going, hey, wait a minute, they didn't play as well as we'd like them to play. But, you know, John Fox says it all the time, a win's a win, and there's no such thing as a bad victory in the NFL.
When it first started off, I thought, oh, no, they're going to play to the Jets level.
Yeah.
And then they just got a little discombobulated. But it also shows to me that's a pretty darn good team, because they're like, okay, we're not firing all cylinders. We're not quite focused. Let's get it together. They didn't freak out, and they got it done, because they really turned it around.
Well, you hear a lot of teams. It takes them a while to buy into the process of winning a game.
Right.
And winning a game when you're not, you don't have your fastball or your curveball, that takes something. And this is a team that knows how to get a W. I wondered if this was an 11 a.m. start, early for me, not so much early for you, early for these players, and I wondered if maybe that played into it.
Maybe.
You're playing on the East Coast.
They went a day early, though, right? Didn't they go a day early? Just to try to cope with that.
Yeah, that's the way he deals with, 2 time zones would be a day early. So they got there on Friday to try to get, acclimated to the East Coast.
Right.
But it's an 11 a.m. start.
True, yeah, maybe.
The game started. First play was, I think, 54 yards, Peyton to DT. And you're going,
it's like, here we go.
Okay, this will be great.
Yeah.
This game will be over in the first quarter, and we have nothing to worry about. It was the next series where I think there was a ball snapped right over Peyton's head, and I'm going, wait a minute, I've seen that before.
Didn't that happen in this stadium once
February.
before?
That's right. So I was wondering, okay, is it the time? Is it MetLife? But, let's give Rex Ryan some credit. This is a guy who's dealing with a football team that isn't very good. Good defense, offense struggled. But Rex Ryan dared the Broncos to run the football. And Peyton said it after the game. He said, look, they had the linebackers stepping out to help cover receivers.
Yeah, the pressure was great early on.
And so they were rushing 3, just saying, come on, bring it. They knew that Monte Ball's on the shelf. Here we have Ronnie Hillman making his first NFL start.
Yeah.
And the Broncos rushed for, I believe it was 138 yards, their best of the season.
Yeah.
Hillman becomes the first Broncos player in team history to top 100 yards in his debut on the road. 3 players had done it before. He's the first to do it on the road.
24 attempts, 100 yards.
Not a bad game.
Not
He
bad.
did put the ball on the carpet once, but the Broncos did recover the fumble.
And there was the one, 1-yarder thing. What was that, third quarter?
Yeah, it was 3rd and 1, and you're going, wait a minute, why isn't Juwan Thompson, who's a real power back, why isn't he your guy to pick up that
because
game?
Hillman's just he's so slippery. He's fast, he's small, and he kind of zips through there. But, man, he ran into a whole wall there of Jets players. So, other than that, you're right. 24 attempts, 100 yards. Bottom line, I had a pretty good day when it was all said and done.
And what's great is, here we are. We can look at Peyton Manning and say, well, it wasn't his best game. Jets applied pressure, sacked him twice.
I take one of his bad games.
Yeah, I would too.
Right?
They push him off his comfort spot.
Yeah.
He's on the run. I think there was a couple plays where the ball was delivered low. They were incomplete, and you're thinking, man, this is Peyton Manning. What happened?
Yeah.
But when it's all said and done, he has 3 touchdown passes. He's now 2 away from tying Favre, 3 from breaking the all-time career touchdown record, and you go, wow, not that bad a game overall.
No, not bad at all. Yeah, especially, again, we got in the W there. The final score doesn't necessarily reflect how that first half really felt to all of us as fans sitting at home watching that game. We'd like to hear what you have to think. So, again, give us a call here at the Orange and Blue Review. The number 303-831-NEWS. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search Denver Channel. It'll pop up for you. Also on Twitter, look for Denver Channel. It's very easy. Instagram is the same thing. It's called the Orange and Blue Review.
Von Miller is back. This is the 4th straight game he's had a sack. He left the game.
It worried me when he left.
I was worried too because when he got up, you could tell he was woozy.
Yeah.
Came to the sideline. They said there was an issue with, I think they said his right contact was knocked out. He was definitely, his bell was rung. Leaves the game. He comes back. He has 2 sacks in this game, including what should have been a safety. He and Derek Wolfe teamed up, and they got to Geno Smith. The second to last play, this is just before Talib's pick 6, Von Miller is coming around. And, this is a guy who, 2.5 years ago was one of the most dominant players in all of football.
Yeah.
We had the suspension. He was never the same last year. He dings the knee. He comes back a little slow. He's still recuperating from an ACL. It's a major injury.
Yeah.
It looks like he's getting his stride.
Back in true form
And
again.
we've got DeMarcus Ware on the other side, and, I think that really bodes well for this defense. Of course, we have to mention that we lost Danny Trevathan yesterday.
Yeah.
Don't know. We're going to find out.
We don't know how long.
We're going to find out today a little bit more about the severity of that injury. I will say that Each week, and this is really fun for you guys at home, I know I get a kick out of this. If you go to denverbroncos.com, they post John Fox's post-game speech, victory speech. So it's fun to be taken inside of that world where you kind of hear what he has to say to these guys after a game. Yesterday, during this speech, we could see Trevathan walking around the locker room to an extent. I mean, it wasn't a long view of it, but he was not walking with crutches. Now, I don't know if that's good or bad, but in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if there really was something
really bad,
serious, they would have immobilized that left knee, which is at issue right now. So, again, John Fox will meet the media this morning, later this afternoon, I should say, and we'll have a little bit. It's not going to be the word, but we'll have a window into what it is.
How severe it really truly is. You can see him being helped off the field there by the trainers.
And it's a shame that this is just his second game back. He had the broken tibia near the top of the knee at training camp. Returned last week, didn't play the full game, but it was a good start for him. And here he is knocked out of action. That was the Jets' first series that we lost him. So all in all, the defense did not play badly, Mitch. But we're going to find out. It's always the next man up philosophy with John Fox, and we're going to find out, if Trevathan is indeed lost for a period of time, if they can, stem that or fill that void.
Yeah, and I think the defense also looked much better in that second half. Not that they looked bad in the first, but just it seemed like it all came together. It's like, okay, the age of the Broncos, we shouldn't have been worried. Why were we sweating it in the first quarter?
Right.
Because everything turned out just fine.